liberals have a new Jesus, as it turns out. They have decided to latch all of their hopes onto the Trump administration collapsing on a 15-year-old girl now, who I've seen a lot of libs refer to her as Hermione Granger.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it's Claudia Conway, who is basically, she's Kellyanne Conway's daughter. And wait, what does Kellyanne Conway do again?
She is a counselor to the president, I believe.
She's basically kind of hated as being part of Trump's, And there's been some drama in the past where Claudia, she's on TikTok like most teenage girls, but like she'll post things where like she's arguing with her mother, like because she's anti-Trump. And so what happened recently is that with everyone in the White House seemingly getting COVID, it was during the time where they were trying to downplay how many people were actually sick with it. So what Kellyanne Conway did is she didn't isolate herself. She went home and she lived amongst her children and her husband and everything without telling them that it was likely that she would be carrying COVID. Yeah, because she was trying to cover for Trump, basically.
Yeah.
And her daughter ended up getting COVID as well.
Yeah, like that's just fucking terrible. Like, let's just say that.
It's a bad
I don't know how we can fucking like go on without saying how bad that is. Like, fuck you.
The reason why liberals are hailing her as some kind of new journalist that can take him down from the inside is because, like, she's been basically telling people on TikTok that the administration are lying about how well Trump is doing and that, like, secretly, like, his vitals are terrible, he's dying, and all this stuff. So all these liberals are just like, yeah, she's... That
sounds like the rogue White House staffer accounts on Twitter from like 2017.
Yeah, exactly. But like they're completely ignoring how absolutely fucked up it is that like they're basically celebrating a teenage girl and her mother like publicly and like very like nastily like fighting, and well because they see Claudia as politically useful like for liberals, they're kind of like, I guess, like acting happy that like she's going through this, like in a way where it's like, oh, I'm so glad that like we have someone that can be like an insider and can like basically stand up and do what's right. And it's like, it's a 15-year-old girl and her home life is deteriorating, like breaking apart in front of your eyes, and all they're thinking about is what they can get out of it, like in terms of Trump dirt, Trump gossip, and it's it's ghoulish, to be honest.
I feel like there's an amount of that, like, oh, look, this girl that was raised by someone that's in Trump's cabinet can even defy, her mother and see that she's in the wrong and that, Biden's the way. So there's no excuse that you can't, like, convert and, like, see the light as well. Yeah. Come to Jeebus, yo. Vote Democrat.
It's true, though, but that's the thing is, liberals love to create false revolutionary subjects. Like, first it was the hackers, then it was children, like, during the whole, like, school shooting thing, the children who were out protesting were the new kind of revolutionary subject du jour. And now it's like anytime a child does anything remotely political, liberals are like, oh my God, they're the future. They hold the future in their hands. And they start this whole like weird like, cult like child worship fucking
parasocial relationship of a kid.
Yeah, and you notice that every single time she does anything, the words "she's 15" trend on Twitter.
Yeah.
I hate that so fucking much.
Some fucking like lib comedian said, "Oh, Claudia Conway should make an OnlyFans for White House information," and it's like
maybe she shouldn't.
Maybe don't suggest like maybe even if it's a joke, and even if you are just saying it should be people paying for information, maybe don't be suggesting a 15-year-old join OnlyFans.
Go with Patreon. Go with Patreon.
Yeah, exactly.
There's at least no implication.
It's got a much more wholesome corporate image, I feel like, than OnlyFans.
It's still awful. Like in every way, it's still awful. However, it's not making the implication that a minor might post something that is big time sexy hubba hubba or whatever.
Well, on the last episode of the Tim Dillon Show, he was like reviewing and watching some sort of political. It was a Democrat ad. Did you heard me when I was watching this? and it was like they had done some sort of AI deepfake type thing of one of the victims of one of the recent shootings and stuff.
Yes.
To like bring them back to like talk about guns and like, how am I dead? Like how many months or years and guns are still a thing, man? And like try to do this whole like Jesse Pinkman sounding kind of like monologue.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And it was just bizarre. It was just the most like fucking dystopian thing ever to hear, and then just to hear analyzed as well. You're like, this is a dead fucking person that they're like reviving for a political point.
I don't like that.
Think about how like embarrassing it would be, like if your parents decided how you sounded in a CGI video, like based on what they see of you.
Yeah.
Like,
I just
like, you know, it's just, it was so bad. Like, and the way that they did it, it wasn't respectful. He was like in front of a basketball court. They tried to make him look kind of like I suppose like Down with the Kids, a rapper or something.
No. And
you know, like they didn't try to give it like the vibe that it should have. It was just very like it was far too morbid, and it's just bad. Like, and how far is this gonna go?
People said it was tasteless when they did the hologram of Tupac. And I mean, he wasn't up there telling you to vote Democrat or making any kind of fucking political point.
No, he was just doing his thing. He was being Tupac.
Yeah.
And so if that was disrespectful, and it's because we hold Tupac as this cultural, and rightfully so, as this cultural icon and whatever, but this person not so much, so we can use their face and image to manipulate. Like if they did that with Tupac, could you imagine the fucking rage? Like he's a victim of fucking gun violence in America. Like
yes,
he died however many fucking years ago. Like if you made the same video but with the hologram of fucking Tupac, how mental would fucking people go? Like
people would not be happy.
Yeah.
My Michelle Obama did a whole like weird ghoulish speech as well, trying to urge people to vote Biden as well. And even my mom, who's like, yes, Queen Michelle Obama, was like, girl, you are trying way too hard. Like,
oh God.
I watched it with her today. I watched it with her today on CNN. And I was expecting my mom to like be all like, oh yeah, look, she has such beautiful arms. Like, you know, all the typical like that's
just
like
have nice arms.
Her arms are good. Yes, I'll give her that.
Are good,
yes.
But like everybody always says it all the time. Everyone's always going on about how wonderful her arms are.
I wouldn't want to be known for my arms, to be honest. Like that's not like yeah, they're good, but like
it's hard to have like good arms, because even if you're not super fat, even if you're just like a little chub, you'll still have that little pouch of like dinner lady flab like right there basically. So it's hard to have like good arms.
No, genuinely, she does have good arms. Like that's not something
They're
I'm
all
disputing
right,
here.
but like as a woman, if that's like the compliment, it's
right.
sort of an insult.
Not just as a woman, like just
right?
like if that's your only thing, your arms.
It also just sounds like so Victorian. Like, oh, your ankles are such finery. And
Dear
just
me.
like, what?
Lady Obama.
Lady Obama.
I must say that your arms are looking ravishing today.
And like that's the thing, is it's not that she's not conventionally attractive.
She's not fucking Barbara Bush.
No, she's not
like,
Barbara Bush.
You know what I mean? Like, there's been
I agree with that's definitely
like,
true. She's
come
not
on.
Barbara Bush.
Like, do you know what I mean? There's been worse. Even
I'll say
fucking Nancy
Melania.
Reagan. Like, yeah, like
Melania is probably the best looking
She's very
first lady.
pretty. Like and so she should be.
Jackie Kennedy. Jackie Kennedy.
Oh, fuck Jackie Kennedy.
No,
Fuck,
no.
she's a fucking
Boomer.
snowflake.
She looks
such
like
a
Mr.
boomer
Bean.
response.
No, Jackie Kennedy was a classy lady, and
Jackie Kennedy was that decade's Ramona Flowers.
Yeah.
she wore those she wore.
Come on.
No. She wore the shit out of those fucking Chanel suits, yeah, and she handled all of her husband's affairs with class. Like, hats off to fucking Jackie Kennedy, mate. Hats
Hillary
off to fucking
Clinton
Jackie.
wasn't terrible in like the 90s.
No, in the 90s, she was actually pretty
she had
good
that
looking.
little cute bob, and like she sort of looked kind of like a sweet little.
She was not cool in any way,
No,
though.
no.
She was really like her clapping at that DNC is like it's the least cool thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
pretty
dear.
I think that Melania Trump needs to be sent to elocution lessons, though. Like she's an attractive woman. But
As somebody who's had to do that, thanks to a change.org petition.
They say that those who are abused become the abusers, and like I'm all for anybody who can't speak good English going to elocution lessons, because I had to. If you can't speak properly, then you should. She needs to go to fucking elocution.
Isn't even her like thing as the first lady is literally like just some awful English. It's literally like be best.
Yeah.
Not like that's. And it's
I don't know.
Like,
I pay no attention to her at all.
It's hard to not say that in a Slavic way. Do you know what I mean? Because that's just how they would say it. Like, be best. They wouldn't say be the best, because they miss those like little fucking words out when English is your second language.
Kasiniko Belik. Be best, Kasiniko.
Melania Trump definitely sounds like she would give you bonus missions in GTA 4. Like, let's be fucking real. Like, there's no doubt. You've put that in my mind now. Like, she would be like the skeevy, like, aunt or something of Nico that came over and like a bonus DLC and gave you like extra. Like, I could absolutely fucking see that.
So you say you would do anything for money. I think I have something you could do. There's a package on the docks.
She's kind of based though, because the tapes of her bitching.
I have not heard those.
They leaked, and she's just like, I don't give a fuck about any of. She was like, I don't care about Christmas, in like her like fucking voice or whatever. And I was like, yes, Melania, that White House. She looks miserable every single year at that fucking White House Christmas event.
Well,
like,
she looked like fucking Cersei Lannister, like in that Christmas with the black Christmas tree, and like it literally looked like fucking the Empire celebrating Christmas. It was fucking horrifying.
In my country, you only get one potato for Christmas. You spoiled Americans care too much about Christmas. If you stare at the mayor for too long in my village, you'll get thrown into the well.
Anyway, this is Low Society. Welcome. Don't forget to give us 5 stars on the Apple. And no, none of that 3-star stuff. 5 stars only, please. Don't waste our time. We have big aspirations. Follow us on Spotify. Make sure to give us some money on Patreon. We have some big aspirations.
Bonus episodes for $5 tier and $10 tier.
And space colonies are in the works. So we need that money. We need all the money we can get. Donate.
The space colony can't happen without your support.
Well, speaking of mad shit, there's this crazy like conspiracy theory pyramid thing that's making the rounds.
Well, this extremely cursed pyramid, and there's quite a lot of cursed pyramids, but this one is quite terrible. It's basically a chart, if you will, grading conspiracy theories based on which ones are realistic and have probably have happened versus ones that will potentially get you called an anti-Semite, anti-science. And it's fairly dumb. Like it's extremely stupid. I mean, I have sat and yelled at the screen looking at this a couple of times since I have seen it because it's just graded entirely wrong.
It is.
So we want to start at the least realistic and go down, or we want to start at the most realistic and go up?
I feel like we got to sort it top to bottom, because
all right.
Some of these are, I don't know if they're the wrong way around. I haven't really looked down at the bottom, but I feel like there's a lot of the ones in the top that at least definitely aren't anti-Semitic at the very minimum.
Some of them are real.
Some of them are
real.
100% real as well. So let's start there, shall we?
So the top section is supposedly the most detached from reality. It's regarded in this chart as the anti-Semitic point of no return. And it says that basically, if you believe in anything in here, you believe that the world is ruled by supreme shadow elites, which once you believe, you usually believe most of these and should get help, which telling people to get help is usually the thing that gets them to get help.
Always.
But okay, so the implication here though is that if you believe in an elite, you are anti-Semitic, which is, I mean, that's fucking insane. There is a ruling class, period.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with Jewishness in any way, shape, or form.
100%. And some of the ones referenced in this top tier are to do with exactly that. And I'm not saying this just as someone that's read Illuminatus 5 or 6 times, but the Illuminati is 100% a thing. And like the New World Order is basically like what they reference all the time in like their meetings.
The New World Order is neoliberalism.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is.
Yeah, it was the perpetuation of capitalism and the current like, you know, this sort of like states and nations silly chess game. that we're playing.
Absolutely. Like it's couched in the goofy version of the language, but it's not like wrong. The New World Order is neoliberalism. It's the elite taking power via markets. I explain it in a way that is a lot less insane sounding, but that doesn't mean it's not real.
And the deep state are basically that's just sort of the right wing term.
The deep state is basically extra governmental apparatus working beyond the shadows. So things like the military industrial complex and intelligence agencies.
Well, the CIA is sort of a detached organization that works under its own jurisdiction. It's not like bound by anybody. Like they can appoint people to it, but it's not bound to the president or anything, or bound to the White House or the Congress. It can do what it wants, and that's the deep state. I'm sorry.
And there's also the thing that kind of weirds me out is obviously like on the top tier there are a bunch of conspiracy theories that are not they lump in things like Holocaust denial with flat earth theory, which is just kind of like not something that should be in the same category. And belief in things like the deep state and the New World Order, you know, alongside, you know, things like Holocaust denial aren't necessarily, it muddies the waters, because a lot of the people who believe in these ideas and a lot of the people who entertain these ideas aren't automatically in favor of Holocaust denial or believe in reptilian overlords.
A lot of people believed Obama's birth certificate was fake.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, there was a lot of information that was put out that looked real. Even though it wasn't real, it looked real, and people believed that.
And for a lot of people, it's sort of their gateway into anti-authoritarian thinking.
Yeah.
Like Alex Jones, when, like, before he went, like, crazy right-wing, but back when he was just sort of a libertarian, crazy, you know, conspiracy theorist, he was sort of my gateway as a really young kid into anti-establishment ideas, or the idea that we were being screwed by the powerful, and we are being screwed by the powerful.
We absolutely are.
Yeah. And that's what these sort of things try to obfuscate. It's almost like saying any criticism of power that isn't sort of sanctioned by the liberal left is basically adjacent to fascism. And in some cases, fascists do use criticisms of power as a tool to, you know, meet their agenda, but that's not always the case.
And I mean, saying that Elvis lives is more realistic than the Bilderbergs and New World Order Illuminati shit existing, and just you know, an elite class, a ruling class existing. That is some fucking,
it's
like,
fucked up. It's literally genuinely fucked
right?
up.
Also,
like that's mental.
And they've put Greta Thunberg is a time traveler. That is more realistic. Finland doesn't exist. That's more realistic than the deep state. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks.
Sure. Sure.
And so I mean, they the only ones that they've put on the green one, which is still under a speculation line. So I don't know if above that is speculation line or if below that is...
The green one are things that actually happened, according to that little circle there.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, things that actually happened.
But like the only reason they're willing to say those things actually happen is because the government has acknowledged them.
The government has
so like
them, yeah.
that's the only thing that you need the government to acknowledge it in order to say that it's real. Like that's not how fucking power works. Like all the shit that is fucking going on, they're not going to acknowledge it until it doesn't matter anymore.
It's fucking stupid as well, because they've acknowledged UFOs and like there's so much, and they've acknowledged Area 51.
We have questions. Sorry, no, we don't have questions. We have evidence.
Yeah.
At this point.
So much for all of that stuff.
Maybe that makes me sound like a fucking lunatic to certain people, I guess. But sorry, we do. We have evidence at this point.
Even then, though, the COINTELPRO, even things like MKUltra, a few years ago, what COINTELPRO, a few decades ago was seen as an outlandish conspiracy theory until
that was probably yellow.
Yeah.
That was probably yellow level.
Yeah, until it became it became less of a threat to power for that information to be proliferated because it was sort of neutered once it was made public. And something like MKUltra would have been in red.
Yeah.
Because mostly right-wing conspiracy people, that until a few years ago when it was actually fucking confirmed. Because anytime you said MKUltra, people looked at you like you were fucking crazy.
Yes.
And you listened to Alex
Absolutely.
Jones. A few years ago was when that shit came out.
Yep.
And when it was like, oh, they actually did. The CIA was doing all of this fucking crazy shit, experimenting with human psychology and fucking all this crazy shit. And like, the same thing with the whole fucking Epstein thing. If you said that like world leaders were flying on planes with Jeffrey Epstein and going to a fucking island where they were fucking fiddling kids, people would have put you in the red too. And yeah, a lot of the things that are in this...
Alex Jones said all of that in like fucking 2004.
Yes, absolutely.
So
the Pizzagate stuff is all rooted in that. It's like they literally have Pizzagate in the red now when that is like an exaggeration of the criticism and the skepticism that is based around the Epstein shit. Like it's literally like it's neighbors, it's fucking cousins, like whatever you want to fucking call it. Pizzagate might be the absurd version of it, but it's literally people skeptical of the elites for doing the Epstein shit, which is fucking real.
Yeah, and I mean, when you see a bunch of like, satanic related, like, or just like esoteric fucking weird, like spiritual fucking like Mammon statues and like all this weird shit around people like Jeffrey Epstein and the places that they were doing all these fucking horrible, like deviant fucking activities around. It's just like speculation from an outsider's point of view around why they would fucking ritualistically do this sort of shit to children.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, it's not rooted in anti-Semitism or anything like that. It's like, we've seen that this is happening, and like this is also not something that's just new to like right now. No, elites have like had a fucking thing of like back to Roman and Greek times.
Yeah, look back at any previous society where there's some form of evidence, like they were fucking diddling kids.
Literally. And so what is the reason and the purpose behind that and the actual tradition of that? Like, what is the secret that's being kept from us plebeians that are like, if not...
Well, obviously it's that they're
Jewish.
It's that they're Jewish,
It's obviously that's the case, and they need to...
That's what it is.
Say,
But that's the thing. Of course, there have been conspiracy theories that have been weaponized against certain communities. I mean,
obviously,
the far right has kind of claimed that territory as a weapon of they weaponize it against political enemies. They use it to obfuscate material concerns too. So they use it to distract people with sort of culture war bullshit so that they don't actually focus on their material, needs and their common solidarity with others that may be around them. So yeah, nobody's denying here that the far right definitely use conspiracy as a tool of obfuscation.
No.
But it's not wise to then look at the people who fall prey to this stuff and be like, you fucking idiots, you're dangerous and you're beyond hope. Once you've crossed once you've crossed into the red zone, chief, you're beyond hope. Like, that's not...
Well, I tweeted about it and people were like, these people are too far gone. That's the response. They're too far gone. They're not worth talking to. I tweeted that, like, it's better to try to understand weird conspiracy people that use that understanding to try to win them over to a program of material gains for the working class rather than scold them with charts. And then I said, no individual human being is a lost cause. And people were like, no, they're too far gone. And I had somebody say to me, my dad is too far gone. He is a lost cause. You cannot reach him. I responded to them with, would you kill him? I said, would you murder your dad? And they didn't respond to me because you know what? They are not a lost cause because they wouldn't kill their dad because they're the fucking dad. They have some compassion for that person, even though they're quote unquote too far gone. And you know what? If you aren't willing to kill them, if you aren't willing to like actually end their life, then they're not too far gone. You don't get to call yourself a fucking pacifist. Oh, I wouldn't kill someone. No, that's bullshit. If you think they're too far gone, you think they shouldn't be on this planet, that is the implication you're making If you're not going to murder them, then they're not too far gone because you have to fucking talk to them. You don't have a choice. They're gonna be around.
All dads matter. Let's be real.
Yes. Hashtag all dads matter.
Just in this blue section, back to this pyramid, there's definitely some shit that needs shuffling around. Let's just be absolutely real as well. Like, I don't know why the hell we've got still questions about the JFK assassination. Did nobody watch The Irishman? Like, we all fully understand now how that went down. There's not been really a conspiracy theory that really
How is Free Britney not like in the green too?
Epstein didn't kill himself in the blue.
Because we have questions still.
Oh my God, fuck right off, mate. Fuck right off.
Also, the Denver International Airport, like, that should definitely be pushed up to the pink, because that's not just we have questions. There's like some extremely fucking bait shit going on with that fucking place.
There's some fucking crazy shit going on.
And I don't mean to sound like one of those crazy motherfuckers on TikTok, but like, for real, that place has got shiftiness all over it. And if there's like I'd love for someone to like just come and lay the fucking truth out about that one, because it's just ridiculous. It's so weird. Like the fucking Roswell one, we have questions. Like, that's not even the least of it. Like, it's I guess
Princess Diana, I she should be down there in the fucking green.
We kind of all know that.
We
that's
know.
The one. That's
we
just
know
another
that
one
the
of
royal
those
family.
ones that's not confirmed.
Yes, we absolutely know. Like, how do we not think that she was getting close? How do we not think that she was getting close to the Prince Andrew shit? Which is, by the way, still in the fucking red, by the way. Despite the fact that it's seriously completely attached to the Epstein shit.
Yes. Like, that's the thing, is it basically what they're saying is, if you try to sort of it's the whole vibe of this whole chart is, don't use your own logic or logical faculties to make your mind up about anything, because you're so flawed and so stupid and so incapable of deducing truth from fiction that if you even adopt one idea that may be considered fringe, you're going to end up believing in anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, which is so insulting to the faculties of most people.
And it's also, it applies like this moralistic sort of intention behind a lot of people's belief in conspiracy theories. Like, even the ones that are like definitely like have got some sort of like anti-Semitic stuff going on with it, even like the reptilian one, for example, that's like the flat earth version of Illuminati, is basically how I see that. Like, that's someone that is like, something's fucking going on. There's like a group of something like ruling and fucking telling human beings what to do and how to fucking operate this mad system that is just abusing all of us. But they've like, they're crazy enough to just push it to this reptilian place. A lot of the time, I really don't feel like that's because they're deeply anti-Semitic and they hate the Jews. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they just think that it's inhuman what people are doing.
It's more. You've got. I maybe I'm too kind. I always say this. Maybe I give people too much of the benefit of the doubt. But it's more. I see it like exactly that. Like, what is happening to us, what we're doing to each other, is inhuman. Yeah. And we couldn't possibly do this to each other, or like have this system ruled by other people that are just like me and you, who would be making these kinds of decisions. They must be this other kind of like alien thing. And so I don't think that inherently, that feeling inherently is anti-Semitic. I feel like that's from a good place of like, I can't believe that humans are this bad.
I mean, it can be, but like, it's not inherently.
A lot of this as well seems like a snobby kind of, oh, you believe in that? Like, in the same way that people would be like, oh, Angie, you like own crystals, you fucking weirdo. Basically, this whole chart is saying, don't use any of your logical faculties to figure anything out, because you're so flawed and so stupid that if you even adopt or analyze any idea that isn't sanctioned, you will automatically become an anti-Semitic conspiracy theorist. And that's so insulting to people's faculties. And the
thing is this materialist analysis, conspiracy theory materialist analysis? No, it's not. You're not looking at, evidence and stuff, but you are following hunches that like a lot of the time do lead back to a real problem in the world. That's the problem, is that we can't get the paper that allows us to put COINTELPRO into the fucking green. We can't get the paper on that as far as, the deep state. But the problem is, like, Yeah, it's so obvious that there is an elite, there is an owning class, there is a ruling class. And if we lump that impulse in with anti-Semitism, we end up at this point where we're just talking about like, all right, well, I guess nobody wields power, because if we say somebody wields power, that makes us a bigot. Like, what the fuck? Ashley, didn't you say there were like people on Twitter coming at you, calling you anti-Semitic over this?
I didn't really like read much of it, but like basically just some people like arguing that it's anti-Semitic to point out there's a ruling class. Lots of people for some reason trying to make it into a Marxism issue and saying that I clearly have not read Marx if I don't agree that institutional anti-Semitism is a thing and all this stuff. And it's like, here's the thing. Like, yes, anti-Semitism is a real thing. Like it's been a thing for fucking ever. But like when we're talking about the ruling class, we are not like, okay, like we're not saying the issues we have with the ruling class are that they're Jewish.
It's fucking stupid.
That's anti-Semitic.
Yeah, exactly. That is anti-Semitic itself.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's not what we're saying. What we're criticizing is based on the amount of power and wealth that these people have. Like, that is what they use to abuse other people. Not
Yes.
their race, not their skin color, because there's some 1% people who are fucking Chinese. There's 1% people who are black. There's 1% people. Yeah. Like, it is a worldwide...
It's a similar thing. It's a similar thing in the black community where there are some people who basically say that if you're against capitalism, it means that you're anti-black because black people deserve to have a win under capitalism. And if you're saying that, like, you know, Jay-Z shouldn't have all that money.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Come
like
on.
basically it's like people who say shit like that, like, oh, if you're capitalism, black people need capitalism in order to succeed and become shiny and famous. So if you don't like capitalism, then it means you don't like black people. Like it's kind of it's ways for the ruling class and also like the sort of PMC class and stuff to sort of shield their wealth, access, and privilege.
They continue to like slightly democratize the power.
Yeah.
And when they do that, like when they give out a little shred of it to a certain segment of like this identity and that identity, then it's like, well, you could make it too. You could achieve class mobility.
Yeah.
Join us here in the elite. But there isn't an elite, just so you know, that's anti-Semitic.
It's like an attempt, like I said it in my Joker video that I just made. It's like, which you should check out. Haha, cheeky plug.
Yes, obviously.
It's an attempt from the ruling class. It's an attempt from the ruling class to kind of gain some form of moral legitimacy in contempt of anybody who tries to sort of criticize them and their way of like kind of their way of gaining power. And I think that's so dangerous that they're trying to rob us of of our own faculties. And yeah, of course there are dangerous conspiracy theories that exist. Of course, there are ways that the far right use conspiracy to obfuscate. But I would say that the left wing of capital, the fucking liberals, have helped that process along exponentially.
Oh, absolutely.
They've helped that process
Absolutely.
along exponentially by continuously obfuscating and siding with power. So even when something like Epstein comes out, you see people like, oh no, it's not that big of a deal. I saw liberals literally saying, oh, we shouldn't perpetuate this because then it will just perpetuate conspiracy theories that are anti-Semitic. And I'm like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? Like, it's crazy.
I feel like the 1% use identity politics cynically to protect themselves. And that these people don't view themselves as any kind of nation. Like someone like Ghislaine Maxwell's case shows that with her having 5 passports or however many fucking things. And I think that her like and Jeffrey's like tenuous link to Israel makes people easily be able to say any kind of, you know, any kind of like mention about any of that. It makes you anti-Semitic. Any kind of usage of like the Mossad, any stuff like that makes you then like critical of Israel, and then that makes you an anti-Semite. And I think that they're fully aware of those things, and that's why they've got passports for Israel and these kinds of things.
Yeah.
But here's the thing though, criticizing conspiracy theories that are dangerous is good, but criticizing any sort of fringe idea in a way that protects power, in a way that obfuscates like the genuine concern that's underneath it, is pernicious, which is like the distinction that you have to draw when talking about these sorts of things. And a lot of the ways that these liberals sort of critique conspiracy theory is in a way that sort of creates moral legitimacy for power. So you can't criticize power because that then makes you this immoral kind of anti-Semitic horrible person, and it's really pernicious. And I'm tired of seeing it, and I feel like more people should be brave enough to call it out.
But so I mean, just going back to like this chart a little bit, I feel like it could be simplified a lot, because a lot of these are like the same thing, but they're all using just different fucking slogans for them. But for me, like the ones that are deserving in the top spot, QAnon, 100%. Like that is fucking mental. And to do the mental gymnastics to believe that Donald Trump is humbly defeating like satanic pedophiles whilst not like completely bragging about it and making it seem like he's the fucking hero of the world. You are on a different planet if you believe that. So like I absolutely understand that one. Celebs moisturize with children's foreskin. That I will give you that one. That's quite out there.
What?
That's quite outrageous.
Never heard that. That's them trying to exaggerate the basically that's just another riff on people who believe that celebs are abusing children.
Yeah, exactly. That's
they're trying to extremize it.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, if that is just the extremization of that, then that's because you got Savile and you've got a lot of cases and you got a lot of people that have sort of shown that they do a lot of that stuff, especially in the UK. Yeah. So that's definitely in the green.
It's rooted in something that's real, but it's obviously not real.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Flat Earth, obviously, that's in the red. Like everyone.
But then again, a lot of these are rooted in stuff that's real, because a lot of the people who believe in the flat Earth theory are like, well, I'm being lied to about everything else. So why would this fundamental thing about reality be true? Like it comes from this urge of like deep distrust.
I understand that, but it's the same underlying like QAnon concerns, but you've made the logic leap, which means you live in somewhere else that's not Earth. Yeah, like that's the difference for me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's all rooted in something real. Honestly, like cultural Marxism is even rooted in something. Like they think that the leftists are out to get them, but they don't realize that leftists are like the thing that they know as a leftist is just a really annoying liberal.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting though, because I feel like this is something that the left, like if there was a proper sort of principled left, that it would be much more effective at combating conspiracy theory than these people who make charts on Twitter. Like these fucking...
You mean just dunking on people who are ignorant is not the best idea, Angie? I don't know that I agree with that. I think that these people are too far gone.
And I don't also mean to like open a can of worms here as well, but jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams being in the science denial. Like you might have like some basis on that, okay? But I mean, everyone's watched Four Lions at this point. It's not that like 9/11 was an inside job per se, but I mean, there's a lot of manufacturing around these things, right? I mean,
stuff happened in the 1970s that influenced 9/11. That was our fault, and we did on purpose.
Think about Finland doesn't exist being in the same category as being skeptical about 9/11.
Okay, so I really, in this yellow area, I really want to highlight something that's in this yellow area that is bothering me very badly. Like, this yellow area, it's saying that if you believe any of this stuff, you are dangerous to yourself and others. The words soy boys are in this section, which... If you think that that's an insult, am I wrong? It's not like a conspiracy theory. That's simply an insult.
This conspiracy theory is that basically the soy in people's food, that basically men are being sissified by soy.
But isn't that irony though? Weren't right-wing people being shit-lordy about it? Like, because I felt like it was
soy boy's just an insult though.
Yeah, I felt like it because I felt like the conspiracy theory was kind of like a 4chan joke that a bunch of like liberals got like in their feelings about, and they were like, we need to debunk that soy. Like I remember H Bomber guy did a video where he like ate soy for 4 months or some shit to be like, see, there's no scientific base. It's like the kid in class basically when the jock makes a joke and he's like, well, actually, according to science, blah 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 blah.
Well,
like that's how I
feel like that came around at just the right sort of the rising of the vegan stuff as well, which was also another massive liberal pillar stone that you just couldn't fucking touch and say was a bad or stupid thing. And everyone was trying to do all of this science to prove that veganism was amazing and that you could do all of this stuff. Yeah. So it all kind of tied in with that.
It was a shitload thing to make fun of vegans, basically.
And it was a market demographic defending itself, like the vegans defending themselves, like their market choice, their consumer choices.
They played right into it.
I've been sold on this thing. I have been brought into this community. I have all these people who agree with me and think I'm very smart, smarter than all of the meat-eating people, you see. I believe in this thing, and therefore I will defend this thing. You calling me a soy boy, why, that makes you the bad guy here. You must be too far gone.
But now soy boy just means like it's like a insult, like a consumer or whatever. That's what it means now. Like, basically.
Yeah.
What's the Avril Lavigne? What can someone fill me in on why Avril Lavigne and Bigfoot are in the same category?
There's a conspiracy theory that Avril Lavigne died years ago and her body was replaced by a body double.
And the record company didn't want it to die, so they just replaced her to keep the train going.
Even though she has no career left. Like,
it's not like they got the good Avril Lavigne or something where like she is now spreading all of this harmful information and like so she's really worthwhile to make much bigger, I guess, because Avril Lavigne has not gotten much bigger. Like her career has tanked.
If we were gonna replace a dead person, like by importance, like I feel like
maybe do it with Bernie Sanders or something.
Yeah.
she got cancelled when she did that Harajuku thing. And people were like, that's cultural appropriation. It's like, well, Gwen Stefani did it first. And we thought that shit was fly as fuck until everyone became woke. So, yeah.
Well, even like in the same bracket, the Elvis Lives one, there's one of my favorite fucking movies is based off of that conspiracy. Yeah, with Bubba Hotep, that like Elvis is actually alive, but just in some retirement home somewhere because he couldn't be asked to deal with the fame anymore. And some like Elvis impersonator took on his life and then died because he just got way too into it.
I think that Jake is upset that his culture is being criticized because cryptids is in the pink.
I mean, it's not that cryptids is in the pink. For me, what really bothers me is all of the fucking alien shit in the blue. Because, let's be real, we've got the videos of those fucking UFOs from the Navy thing, like, absolutely confirmed
which are officially released. They're not even, like, leaked.
No, exactly. They're officially confirmed by the fucking Navy now. Like, the Roswell shit, like, everyone goes, oh, fucking Roswell. Like, if you actually look at the story of that, it's very obvious that the government found something that they did not know what it was, and that it was transported somewhere and kept somewhere. And then Obama in 2012, whenever the fuck it was, finally confirmed that Area 51 exists. So all of that shit is in the green.
These people would have put COINTELPRO like in the fucking pink or in the yellow before it was fucking confirmed. So like I
think it would have been in the yellow before it was confirmed. Yeah,
they would have been like, oh, you're dangerous to you and yourself if you believe
you're dangerous to yourself if you believe that the government would do that to you.
I would need Dan Aykroyd to get on here to give us a good one for Bigfoot, but to really, because he knows a lot more about that.
We need some Crystal Skull vodka and Dan Aykroyd.
He knows a lot more about that than I do. I have tried to investigate the Bigfoot stuff a little bit. It's interesting, but there's the amount when people say there's no evidence for UFOs, you're like, well, not really anymore. There's fucking shitloads.
No, there's officially released evidence for UFOs.
Yeah, exactly. But with Bigfoot, you're like, there's no evidence for Bigfoot, and then you're like, there's still is like that one video in the 60s that everyone still references, and there's still nothing more.
The subliminal messaging from ruling class in children's TV is basically just advertisement. So they say that
children's TV is advertising, like it's marketing, like since the 1980s when they lifted that law.
And there is literally, like, think about, like, most children's TV has that one episode, which is basically a metaphor against communism.
Absolutely. The
Yes,
My Little
They all
Pony.
do.
The My
Yes,
Little Pony
yes.
bullshit where
Yeah.
our
Yes.
town.
Yeah, they
That
do
fucking
it.
bullshit. That's
Almost
some
yeah.
shit.
Every
Have you
single
seen that
one.
shit?
No.
Watch it. You will
Oh
be
my God.
You will be fucking
What
furious.
they do is they take all the ponies' individual QE marks away and give them all the same QE mark.
Oh.
And like it's basically like
and they
it's-
wear jumpsuits and they march and they talk about how everybody's equal in this town and it's creepy and you're not supposed to like it and there's something wrong. I mean, it's literally just anti-communist propaganda. It's using what people think of the USSR to take a dump on any form of like power to the people oriented movement. And it's not like the USSR was perfect or anything. I'm not saying that. I think people should obviously know that about me. I'm not like a big proponent of the USSR. At the same time, that is completely in line with the idea that there's like messages from the government in children's cartoons. And even if it's not, like, it's practically speaking the same result anyways.
So basically, like the first season of Legend of Korra, but with ponies, basically.
Yeah.
Like Legend of Korra also, because
the market government's good. The capitalists are good. That's individuality. You're taking it from the people.
That's some straight out of like fucking Maggie
Fucking hate
Thatcher,
that shit. Fucking
like
hate that
speech
shit.
shit.
Yeah.
And also, some of that Disney penis stuff was like very convincing. I'm not gonna lie.
The
I had a
fucking
hot-
like
I
when
had
the
a-
Lion King falls on the thing and the sex word comes up.
Yeah, yeah. There was also
Yeah.
the one with like a Bugs Bunny or someone with like an erection in
The
one
massive
of
cock in fucking Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The priest that has a boner. Like,
Yeah.
there's Marion.
The boner
Is it
priest, yeah.
is it the Beauty and the Beast in that one?
No, it was one of them.
I don't-
There was someone with a boner and like the floppy disk.
I think there was also
dodgy
Little
shit.
Mermaid, actually.
There was some dodgy shit going on with Disney, man, for a long time with all of those ones.
Oh my
That
God.
was
Well,
getting
Disney
the fucking
himself
green.
was weird as fuck. Like
He was weird as fuck.
Yeah, he was weird. He was a strange dude. What is
You're
Free
dangerous to
Britney?
yourself and others for saying things like that.
What is send a social worker after me. Put me in the fucking
the unarmed social worker that will handle the police work.
What I think is funny is the pink section is labeled unequivocally false but mostly harmless. But like saying things like Avril Lavigne replaced, that does harm someone. That Avril Lavigne is still alive.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to know how the mattress firm thing is unequivocally false. How is there
Well-
4 mattress firms on a fucking
Well,
intersection
It hums.
Yeah.
and it's not a
Have
front
they not
for like
seen Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
have
Documentary?
have you never
Yeah.
seen like a front business? Has that never existed in these people's like they don't believe that there can be such thing as a front business? Sorry, no, mattress firm is a fucking front business.
Well, it harms Jake to say that Bigfoot and cryptids aren't real, and it also harms Scotland's tourism industry to say the Loch Ness monster isn't real. So I disagree that some of these.
Saying aliens built Stonehenge is erasure of Celtic culture.
It
Like,
Yeah.
is.
People
is.
fucking built that.
I mean, also the crop circles thing. If you look at the science that's actually been done around some of the crop circle
Here we
stuff,
go,
it's
here we
actually
go.
very interesting and not as quickly as dismissible as it's once appeared. As like as like something as fucking stupid as a stupid fucking pyramid would make you believe it is. Like there is actually something quite weird going on with
These
crop
people,
circles.
the thing is, these people they don't have any fun. They probably haven't, like, only people who haven't orgasmed for like a really long time create
yeah, these people
pyramids.
definitely do not fuck.
Yeah,
that is
they
a
don't fuck.
definite.
And they create like charts that they use to like scold people. And like they also, don't have any imagination, because it's fun to believe in like weird shit sometimes. It's interesting to speculate about like some of those weird mysteries in reality. And yeah, some of these things are harmless, but some of them actually can lead people towards like sound critique of power, especially if there's actually a base that is able to present a coherent explanation.
You mean like creating a materialist base? What? Why?
I know, exactly. Especially if there was actually a base that was materialist and provided a sound analysis that wasn't just rooted in culture war, but rooted in explaining the sort of material interest behind all of these things.
Why
that people
you
are
think
concerned
there is
about.
somebody fucking you?
Yeah,
Well,
why do you
because
think
there is
there's someone
somebody fucking you.
Exactly.
Do you want me to give you the Marxist reason why we still don't know about aliens?
Oh no, just.
I'll give it to you.
Why? I want to hear it desperately.
Well, basically,
Here we go.
it's very obvious that the technology that has visited us is beyond our knowledge of physics. And it's such a leap that it's not possible for any one nation to have made this thing and not have dominated the entire world, essentially. And I believe that all of the major superpowers have retrieved or some sort of spacecraft that has been found on Earth through times, and that they don't know how to unpack its technology, and they're all trying to do it first in secret so that they can then dominate the world, because this technology is meant for beings that have an understanding on a planetary level and not on a nationalistic level, and that 0-point energy, which is what would be needed to do this kind of space travel, would essentially make the fight for resources on Earth meaningless, and we could all live in a very eco-friendly and happy place if we had that sort of technology with the right people in charge and the right kind of spiritual evolution as human beings. But
Yeah, Jake's the Posadis.
because any one nation that discovers this technology will destroy everyone else and overpower and win the world, essentially. And so that's why if we all work together, maybe we'd figure it out, but we can't because everyone's trying to do it separately and singularly.
Well, with that, guys, don't make charts. It's not cool to make charts to scold people.
Come up with your own Marxist analysis for why crazy shit exists.
I'm okay with charts.
You know, just at least
just not charts like this.
I'm not okay with charts.
Look at this graph.
Peter, did you just make a Nickelback joke?
I did.
I just lost all respect for you in those moments.
What,
Shame
you like
on me.
Nickelback? You don't like it when people make fun of
Oh,
Nickelback?
shut up, Peter. Don't try to turn it back on me. Don't try to turn it back on me. Jake unironically likes Nickelback. It's fucking sad. Like, I said the other day that they were shit, and you were like, oh, they got some tunes. That's not true. They don't.
They've got a couple of bangers. You can't deny.
You can
Their
never
cover
call.
their cover of Saturday Night's All Right
You
is
cannot deny Rockstar.
No.
Rockstar is like.
Oh my God.
fucking tune.
What?
Let's be real. Let's be absolutely real. That absolutely.
I was thinking you were going to
crushed
say
and
like
slapped.
Animals or something, which is like a semblance of a decent song.
Nah, fuck all that shit where they're actually trying to be like a fucking band. Like, I loved it when they were just like, you know what? Yeah, we're fucking shit and we're going to make the cheesiest, most fucking dumb song ever. And it's like, that is perfect. You nailed it. That is so.
Honestly, I can
You
get
know-
behind that. I can get
You know,
behind that.
in that song, This Is How You Remind Me. You know, there's that line where he's like, I'm tired of living like a blind man. I thought he said for years, I'm tired of living like a black man.
If only
Oh my god.
only Chad Kroger were that racist. Like, we could have been rid of him long ago.
long ago. I was like, oh, maybe he's like doing a commentary on like race in America. Like, I read really deeply into it. It was weird.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh
with
my
that,
God.
thank you guys for tuning into this very weird episode of Low Society. Be kind to one another, you know? And if you have weird relatives that believe in shitty conspiracy theories, it's probably because they intuitively feel like they're being fucked. And maybe instead of being like, oh, you're dumb for believing those dumb things, maybe try to explain to them why they're being fucked. That might help.
And it might take a couple conversations. It might
Yeah.
take a little while. You're not
It
going
could
to
take a
convince
year.
them with like 10 words. You're not going to have
Yeah.
a sentence that magically unlocks. It could take a really long time.
Yeah.
It's worth doing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes decades of small bits of information and hearsay, and then finally the government confirming things before you realize what reality is.
Yes. literally, like, think about, like, basically the government and, like, society gaslights people for years into thinking that think that you're insane for believing things, and then like there's a dump every 5 years of like CIA shit. It's like, yeah, it happened.
Yeah, COINTELPRO. Yeah. We did try to get MLK to kill himself. That was something we did.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Didn't you know that we invested millions of dollars in trying to learn how to teach soldiers how to astrally project into our enemies' fucking like fortresses and shit? Like, yeah, we got a whole document to tell you about it. Read it.
We did do that. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, thank you for listening to this podcast. Help us by giving us money. Also visit our Help us by giving us money. Also visit our Reddit. Also visit us on Twitter. Also go to lowsociety.net. We're actually
thanks for the Fanny Duff pictures.
Yes.
The art has been
There's been an increasing amount of Fanny Duff.
we love it.
Oh my god.
You're a wizard, Ashley!
Yeah, they're all perfect, and they're all exactly how I have pictured her at various points of my life, remembering.
Wait,
the
what?
stories.
Fanny Duff is a she?
Yes.
I thought Fanny Duff was a he. Oh my gosh. I've been thinking
no.
the wrong thing.
She
this
could
whole
just
time.
sound like a what we perceive a man to be. But
Fanny Duff is a masculine woman.
Oh wow.
Right.
Wow.
Fanny is a Scottish name for a
Like
woman.
the
I
dinner
thought it was
lady
a
archetype,
curse.
you know?
Well, like
it's
the
a
dinner
name.
lady.
Like
Yeah.
I mean like an actual first name.
Oh,
Fanny.
that's
You didn't know that?
Well,
no.
Fanny-
I know Fanny as well. It means butt in the U.S., but in the UK it means vagina.
Yeah, Fanny means vagina.
Yeah, but there's women in Scotland that are called Fanny.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's
Children.
unfortunate.
Anyone cultured knows that, Ashley. Don't worry. I
That's
knew
been
that.
Low Society for the week. Thank you very much, everybody.
Goodbye.
We'll
Love
see you in a couple days.